Desperate people do desperate things. Actually, that's a Shakespeare quote, by the way. He said, desperate times breed desperate measures. And sometimes the desperate things we do in desperate times are not good, but sometimes they are good. And today what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at 3 desperate housewives from Scripture who got their miracle out of their desperation. So here they are. I'm going to throw them up on the screen so you know who they are. The first desperate housewife was a woman with the issue of blood. The second desperate housewife was the Syrophoenician woman. And the third desperate housewife was the Shunammite woman. So we're going to start with the woman with the issue of blood. We're going to look at what happens when women become desperate. Now, some of you know all about being desperate housewives, don't you? It reminds me of the story of this housewife. She's gone to Costco, can't find a parking spot. Has anyone ever experienced that? So she's driving around 20 minutes. She's got kids screaming in the car. So in desperation, she prays and she says, Lord, if you give me a parking spot, I will serve you for the rest of my life, and I will take my family to church forever. Just then, a fantastic spot opens up right in front of the entrance. She pulls into the spot, says, Lord, never mind, found one on my own. So let's have a look today at our first desperate housewife, and this is the woman with the issue of blood. And so we're going to jump right into it. It's in Mark chapter 5, verse 25. Here it is. Now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well. Immediately, the fountain of blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, who touched my clothes? But his disciples said to him, you see the multitude thronging you, and you say, who touched me? And he looked around to see who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. Now let me tell you something. There's more going on in this story than meets the eye. I know most of you think you know this story, but we're going to look at it and we're going to pull some things out of it, and some of them are things you've never seen before. I think we can all agree on this. She was a desperate housewife.